Yeah, it's a very difficult question because if I had that crystal ball, probably it would have been much easier. But my vision on that is that I think the whole climate, the whole environment of watchmaking is start to be reshaped. The smartwatch income, the impact of smartwatches is quite severe for the Swiss watchmaking. Quartz is being heavily impacted, even mechanical is impacted. Retail is under pressure. High stocks, retailers are much more difficult for them to drive business today because the online sales has really gained shares. Difficult to estimate. On the watchmaking, I think many brands are suffering today. The smartwatch, it's a fact. It overtakes a lot. So I think the quartz business is going down. And mechanical will still have its space, but it will go through a difficult phase, very clearly. Yes, I 100% believe that. If I look at generation X, Y, Z, we already don't look anymore at generation X. It's hard, but it's my generation, and we are quite loyal. We look much more to the generation Y and Z. They will take 65% of the luxury consumer in the coming 5 years. So we need to start connecting with them, where it's much more difficult for the watchmaking, because the generation Z, it's youngsters from 14 to 20 years old. They've been raised with technology, strong innovations, digitally. So they only look at their phones, they don't look at general newspapers anymore, they look at YouTube. If you don't start to connect with them now, you're going to miss them. Now, what are they interested in? In technology. So what is a technology-driven device? A smartwatch for them. Their phone and the smartwatch. So they start to be educated with having something on the wrist. Later on, for sure, they will be attracted again by much more a mechanical-driven watch. For sure. This I'm 100% sure. The industry always goes to waves where it's a peak and then it goes down and disrupted again, but it picks up. It exists for 180, 200 years already. Well, I cannot specifically say that for the generation Z or Y, but overall you see Asia, Europe and US as a differentiation. US is strongly technology driven, where in Europe they're much more sophisticated focused, less technology driven for now, but probably we will follow also in the coming years more the US trend. Asia, where it's also blocked because of, for instance, if you look at China, some brands don't exist there. But in China we clearly see also a strong technology driven. But in whole Asia we can also still see that, for instance, automatic watches are still extremely popular and still continues to sell well. Same as Europe, where in US you really see that the smartwatch in our, for instance, bestsellers, we can see clearly that the smartwatch is much bigger in quantities there. It has always been the biggest challenge, in my view, is you can spend a lot of money, but that doesn't mean you're going to be business-wise successful. If you reflect it back to our brand, we have really took the decision to put much more sources in the product, high quality, high finishing, and with an accessible price. So we take much less margin than the big brands do today in the industry. But on the opposites, we also didn't have huge marketing budgets to spend. What forced us to be very targeted and to connect much more with the existing consumer we had in our vision to connect with, instead of going very wide. Now, the other thing is, we are in the watch industry already for me 20 years now. I'm not sure for how long you were in the watch industry, but we always believe, I believe that, we always believe that being in the industry, everybody knows us, but it's not the case. There's a huge group, even young group, generation Y, Z, they don't have a clue what's happening in the industry or our industry. They don't even know brands that we know already for many years, because they simply are not interested in it. And it's also because we don't analyze how to reach them. actually is for 30 years the same. And many people ask me, and I'm still very convinced that that's the case. We produce very high finished watches. We are, in our price segment, the only one who's doing the full chain by themselves. So the development of the movement, the production of the components, the movement, and the assembling of that. The chain of that in our price segment is unique. So we offer a manufacturer movement for a quite accessible price, for a fair price in a way, but high finishing. Those two combinations of product and price makes our product unique today. Many brands coming to do the same today. Don't misunderstand me here, because you can see clearly by going direct to consumer, it creates opportunities for many other brands. But we exist for 30 years now. And the innovation we do. In such a young term, we are working in watch industry. 30 years is nothing for the watch industry. We have been doing really amazing innovations. Those 3 points for me are the USP for the brand.
Thank you very much, Niels.
Thank you.